You know, on your Android phone, you can long press the home button to get to the Google Assistant. But if you type in the search bar, you're still typing with Google Now. And if you press the microphone icon in that search bar, you can even still talk to Google Now. Why is this that way? Can it just be consistent? Hey, I'm Brian with EBO Gadgets, and I may have an explanation. So you probably all have a voice assistant on the device you're using. Whether it's an Android phone, an iPhone, a PC, or a Mac, they all have them. But they also all still have a standard search that you can type in. And if you've ever tried to type the same commands that you can say to the voice assistant in the search bar, you might have noticed that you don't get the same results. Apple has recently brought Siri over to the Mac, and that in itself is great, but just like when they've introduced it on their mobile devices, they still kept the normal Spotlight search around. The problem is that Siri and Spotlight do completely different things. One does things the other one doesn't, and vice versa. On an Android device, the whole thing is even more confusing. On Android, there isn't even just a dumb search like Spotlight. Google Now can actually do some things that the Assistant can, like setting an alarm or turning on the flashlight. But it can't do some others, like turning on smart devices. Android also has two voice assistants that do different things: Google Assistant and the old Google Now voice control. And to make it even worse, the new Google Assistant doesn't even do the same things on a phone that it does on the home speaker. How are you supposed to remember what you can or can't say or type at what? Microsoft is the only company that is doing this right with Cortana. If you choose to enable Cortana, your standard Windows search also gets replaced with Cortana. That means that everything that you can achieve by speaking to your PC, you can also achieve by typing in the search bar. So if Microsoft can pull this off this way, why aren't Google and Apple doing the same thing? Why are they separating their voice and search services? The reason that Google has even kind of stated when they explained why they won't bring the Assistant to tablets is this: they need people to use the voice service. A lot. The more people speak with the Assistant, the more voice snippets Google gets to make it better. Assistants use machine learning, so the more voice snippets and data they have, the better the recognition will get. When I asked Google to turn on my computer, for example, it at first understood turn on Michael, but from all the snippets and data it has, it knows what I actually meant. They also get to know you a lot better if you speak natural language instead of typing keywords, while at the same time making the natural language recognition better. They want you to use the Assistant, that's why they didn't put it on tablets where you rarely will, and that's probably also why they make the standard search inferior. Now you probably noticed that this would explain the continued existence of the search and the voice assistant on Apple and Google devices, but that it makes the continued existence of the Google Now voice service even more questionable. If Google wants you to use the Google Assistant, why do they keep another version of a voice control around on Android devices? Well, keeping Google Now voice control probably doesn't hurt the optimization of Google Assistant, because they probably use the same voice snippets from Google Now to make the Assistant better too. At least that's what I would do if I were Google. Not doing that would just be stupid in my opinion. But then still, why have two different assistants that don't do the same things and don't even speak the same language for that matter? You may have noticed that Google Now still uses the old text-to-speech engine, whereas the Assistant uses a new natural language engine that makes the two sound distinctly different. This could be because if they keep the search bar around, Google may want the microphone in that search bar to do the exact same things as the search bar to not confuse people. The Google Assistant does other things, and it's also separated in the operating system. You have to press the home button to get at it. That may also be why they have chosen not to update Google Now to the new speech engine, so you can know who you are talking to from their way of speaking. Now these are all great points why Google and Apple might want to separate their voice assistants. And their strategy probably works out, considering that Google Assistant and Siri are a lot better than Cortana. But it still doesn't change the fact that this doesn't make the whole thing easier for the consumer. It's nice that they want to make the experience more optimized for us, but in the end they don't really achieve that. A search bar that doesn't do what I would expect it to won't encourage me to use the voice assistant when I just can't talk to it. There are occasions when I just don't want to speak into my phone or computer. On a Mac it's even more extreme, because you have the keyboard at your fingertips the whole time anyway. Not being able to type just makes the whole thing more cumbersome. If I'm at a busy airport, I will not talk to Google Assistant, so having to click through the apps to do what I want because the search bar would turn the assistant command into a Google search is just inconvenient. The only case in which I would prefer the assistant to do different things from the search bar is if I just want to search for something. But that's just because I would also like the Google Assistant to not just Google something if it doesn't understand it, but rather just say that it can't help me. If I want to search for something, I can just say search for. If Google would implement this way, then a search bar that just searches would make sense because you wouldn't want to type search for all the time. But that's not how it currently works, so the separation is still bad, I guess. And even if it would work like this, you could still just put an assistant button on the search bar that you can press to gray it out, so you can just do a normal Google search. So please, Google and Apple, your voice assistants are already good enough that I want to use them all the time, but I sometimes just can't. Give me the possibility of just typing the command. Give the search bar the same functions as the voice assistant. Thank you. But do you have any other explanations of why Google and Apple might keep their old search tools around? Do you think this is just as stupid as I think it is, or do you even prefer it this way? Let me know down in the comments below, or tweet it at me. And if you liked the video, press the like button and get subscribed to our channel to catch a new episode of this every Sunday. Also check out the previous episodes, click follow on Instagram and Twitter because I post a lot of cool stuff there, and check out the website for the written version of this and other interesting articles. But with that, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.